Hello everyone, classic 80s fanboy here. Now I've got a bit of a story to tell you. I've been home visiting my parents in Portsmouth. I thought I'd take 4 days out and go and see them down there. And while I was down there, I thought I'd pop and do a bit of toy hunting. So I went to our local toy shop, which is a Smith's, and I came across and pulled the trigger on, and I'm probably the last person to do it, on these, which is the Master of the Universe, done in a style of the classic 80s action figures, but with more articulation, a lot more articulation, and there's no rubber involved, so there's no rubber parts involved anymore, so there'll be no cases of the rubber perishing and the limbs falling off. So I went and got both. I've got here He-Man and Skeletor. I thought I'd pick them both up. Now, interestingly, they had the first versions of each of these, and I thought I'd go for the second version because the second version's heads are different. They're more inclined with the original He-Man figures, the 80s. Yeah, so it's got the original He-Man shaped head and paint job, and the original Skeletor as well. Because the first versions they brought out, the Skeletor's mouth was wide open and He-Man had longer hair. So I don't know whether the customers were complaining about that they decided to re-release these in the original style heads. I don't know. I can't go into detail about that. But I'm going to do four. I've got 4 videos to do in total. They're not all He-Man, they're not all Master of the Universe. But these are the 2 I picked up, and they're on special offer. So I thought I'd buy them both. Now, I'm not going to go into the complete collection. I'm not going to start falling into the trap of collecting all of them. I just bought these because they were on offer, and that's the only reason. So without further ado, what we're going to do is look at Skeletor first. So if I move He-Man out the way, I'm going to have to bring him down because it's quite a long card. So it's done really well in the classic way. It's got Master of the Universe there, Skeletor. Within includes comic and the figure in a nice clamshell package there. In the bottom corner, it's got by Mattel. They were the original company to release Masters of the Universe anyway. Back, I think, in 1982. It shows how long ago they did it. And this, I appreciate that this package is damaged. It has been damaged. There's a massive rip there, but I'm not a mint-on-card collector. I don't intend to be. I want to get these out and play with them. On the back, some really good artwork of Skeletor there. It's the European release because they had an American release as well. So there are a lot of differences between the 2, and I'll let you know. It's mainly to do with the comic, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It shows you what you can do with his Havoc staff. His Havoc staff can fit neatly into his hand, and his waist can turn. And there are more points of articulation in this figure than there were in the original release back in the 80s. Because I remember having Skeletor and He-Man. I did have some of the others, like Cobra Khan and everything like that. But as I said, I'm not planning on collecting the whole waves, because there's quite a few waves that have come out. So I think they're up to wave 7 at the moment. I've got no room, obviously, in my toy room, because I'll focus more on Doctor Who and everything else. So there's no way I'm going to have room to store everything. So I just sort of collect the 2 main antagonizers. So as I say, the first one I'm going to do is Skeletor, and I'm just going to rip him straight out the package. And I'm doing this with my hands in front of the camera, by the way, so if it goes blurry I do apologise, but it's the only way I can film it. There you go. Let's just get rid of that packaging there. Get him out. It's quite a weighty figure. That's quite surprising. A lot of these figures in the 80s were not as heavy as what these are. He's got a twisty tie around his ankles, but we'll deal with that in a minute. And this is when you think, I should have brought a knife, really, shouldn't I? Never mind, we'll rip it. There you go. And it's well taped as well. So we'll get his stuff out first. I'll rip these off. An elastic off here, a little go. Excuse me. I'm not frightened of hurting my hands. You know, when they ping back at you. That's done, so I'm ready to take him out. Now, these weren't absolutely 100% perfect when I got them. There were faults in one, and some of the paint jobs were absolutely horrendous. These were the two best I could pick up. Let's take a look at the comic first. Well, apparently with these now you can pull the bits and swap. Yeah, you can swap the arms, legs, and the head. And it just shows you there on that how you can do it. It's just a piece of paper there. There's the comic. This one's called Sucker Punch. Now the difference between these comics and the American version is when I open it up, the American version's got bubbles on, so they've got bubble speech. There's no bubble speech on any of these, but it looks like He-Man is battling Fisto. His big, massive hand. Yeah, and there's some more of the, from the ways you can get He-Man, which we've got, Faker, Skeletor, which we've got, Fisto, Evelyn, and Merman. As I said, we're going to try and see if we can get these open. There are massive, quite a few differences with these releases from the first lot they brought out, and we'll go through them one at a time. Now, will this Havoc stuff come out without having to take the tape off? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So there's Skeletor's Havoc staff. Quite a nice looking thing there. His ram's head with the curled horns. Oh, I'll move it into camera so you can see. This is not an autofocus camera, I don't think. But there you go. Quite nice detail in there. Now, with the first release swords when they came out, the swords, if I show you this sword, there's a big difference between this and the first release when it came out. It's not half a sword, it's a full sword. Yeah. So when they first released it, as with the original He-Man figures when they came out, Master Universe figures when they came out, with He-Man and Skeletor, their swords were in halves. So that the legend of the story was you could put both halves together to make the power sword, which would open Castle Grayskull. But this time they've gone and moulded both halves of the sword, which is good to see. Let's put that down on one side. And let's see if Skeletor will now actually come out. Yeah, there he is. Just got to do some finagling, take the rubber bands off. Come on. Let's see if it will come out that way. Yep, there we go. Oh, that's quite good, nice stiff joint there. He'll stand. He won't stand because I'm on. Oh look, there he is. It's just. I'm going to move my camera down for this bit. There he is. And I've got to say, what a figure. What a figure. It's nice and sturdy. It's made of very tough plastic. Really, really tough plastic, which is so much better than what we had before when they first released. And I mean, I'm talking about the 80s here. Articulation, his head's on a ball joint, which is great. And it's a hard head. The original releases of the 80s had soft heads. This is really hard head. What I will say is the original 80s had a lot of green, more green. I'll put my finger here. And more green around the face. But this is like a mixture of yellow and green. Some good work along the mouth. It's nice and closed. Armour looks good. Yeah, I think original armour had like a belt, like a buckle, and the strap slid through the buckle. But here it's just like a popper on a buckle. So as I said, he's got full rotating head. Arms, yep, he's on a ball joint as well, and they're nice stiff joints as well. And they click when you move them. So he's on a ball jointed arm as well, which is good news. Shoulder. He's got a twist at the elbow, and he's on a swivel joint there as well. And his wrist, yep, good movement. His wrist can do a full 360, and it does go inwards and outwards a little way. But of course, the edge of his cuff is going in and out fully. Waist swivels very nicely. It's quite a nice swivel. Legs, it's on a ball joint, and they're quite stiff as well, but they do go all the way out and in. He's got bend at the knee, and with his feet, yeah, they do point down and go up a little way. And is his foot on a rocker? It does move side to side, so we can turn it that way and that way. So let's put him back where he was. And see if he stands. As I say, I'm on a tablecloth, so standing may be a bit of an issue. There he is. I've got him standing, that's the main thing. Let's lift his head up a bit, not too much. And there we go. So he can hold his Havoc staff. Let's put that in there, see if it'll clip on. Yeah, he holds his Havoc staff, no trouble at all. Just need to get his balance right. And the other question is, will he hold his sword? And I will say, in this hand, not really. He doesn't really hold it very well. It's probably might work in the other hand. However, I don't know whether his havoc sword will hold in this. It'll hold like that. And he does hold his sword well in the other. Hand. So it's going to take me a while to get them into a good pose, but eventually I will. But all I'm going to do is just give an example. I don't know if he's like He-Man. No, He-Man can put his sword down the back. Skeletor might be able to do this. There's no thing there to keep his sword, but sorry, that's my phone going off. Let's just keep that there, just to help him balance. Okay, so I'll leave that there a minute and just talk about it. What do I think? Well, I think for a figure of this day and age, I like it. It's a lot better than what we used to have in the 80s. Maybe the paint apps aren't as good, but you've got all the ability and movement, more ability and movement, I should say, than what you had in the first, in the 80s toys. So I'm very happy with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.
Thank you.